Through storms, unshaken, unbowed. Through trials and verdicts, still standing proud. A titan in the tempest, against the raging crowd. He's got a vision for the future, gonna shout it aloud. Changing the wind, it's coming fast. A new foundation built to last. Cryptocurrency's the key. Make the big switch. Power to the people. Time to teach the rich. Legal battles can't hold him. He's moving on. With plans so bold, from dusk till dawn. He's rewriting the rules. A new dawn's day. From the hands of the few to the people's way.
Welcome, everyone, to the Crazy Kryptonite channel. I am Zester, and I hope everyone is having an awesome end to the week. And things are different around here, and so I'll also go ahead and apologize for the fact that I'm going to probably constantly be looking in the wrong direction when I expect to be looking at the camera and at y'all. And so please don't be offended if it looks like I am staring off in the wrong direction today. But what is up, everyone? Welcome to Kukla and Mile High Trish. Thank you guys, as always. What's up, Mary Jones and George Yukovich saying, never imagined any presidential candidate being supported by so many because they can't survive on their own. Whoever wrote this story needs a statue. We are definitely going through a point in time in U.S. history that is, it's not going to even make sense in a history book. When someone goes back and says, all right, hey, we're going to learn about 2016 to 2024 or 2025, whenever the insanity comes down, I wonder what the historians are going to call this. What are they going to describe it as? Because I can't imagine it making any sense. If I was reading it in a book, I would just laugh and be like, all right, so this is like Game of Thrones or Lord of the Rings. It would make just as much sense with that logic as it would being real. And so, George, that's a great question. It's one heck of a yarn. That's for certain. Thank you for being here, man. Welcome, Captain Spiffy. What is up, everyone? Thank you so much, David, for the apple and for being here. What's up, Patricia Lee and Crazy Chester? I hope everyone is having an amazing one. And Bendy36, good morning, Zester, mods, and viewers. It's 7 a.m. here in the land down under. Hope for a good one today. Oh, Bendy, I hope you're having an awesome start to your day. And we have the very important question that has to be asked. When you flush the toilet, does the water spin in the opposite direction? No one will ever confirm or deny on that one. But no, thank you so much for being here, Bendy. There's always so many funny ones with the land down under, and I appreciate you starting the morning with us. Oh, Kukla, nice arcade machine. Let's play. Yes, let's go. I'm ready. I don't know how to play any of the games, at least not many of them, but I'm ready to go. I was debating whether we were going to go ahead and maybe we'll take a break. Once all of these things happen and everything is done, maybe I'll just put up a camera and we'll sit there and we'll play games on an arcade without having to continually put quarters into the thing. Yep, George Yugovich, beer fridge and arcade game. Yep, there we go. Mary Jones, wow, I have not seen a Pac-Man game in a while. That is true. I need to get into that one before we hit the news, though. Thank you, Kukla, for making certain that I cover it. The content in this podcast is for entertainment and educational purposes alone. It is not intended to provide financial advice. Please consult with a financial or legal professional before making any major decisions. Very important one. Thank you, Kukla. for making certain that I get it. And what's up, Murder Reef? Saying hello from over there on Twitch. I am so sorry to everyone on the Twitch side. You do not get near enough love, but welcome, Murder Reef. Thank you so much for being here. Richard Gregory, no commies in my neck of the woods in Florida. Now, Florida's got a lot going on nowadays, but luckily, it seems, judging by the poll numbers and the prediction markets, that Florida is going to be a solid red. Solid red this year. Kukla, I'll kick butt. I always played back in the 80s. Kukla, you're going to kick my butt then, because I do not have a lot of experience on it. I had a friend down here who had brought the machine down and really needed to get some cash. And so I got a very good deal, and I really wasn't planning on it at all, but I'm very happy to have it. I think I'm going to play all the games, see if I can't set a few high scores, and then I'm planning on seeing if somebody else doesn't want it, because who knows? Maybe I end up becoming a huge fan of the old arcade games, but I was planning on playing all of them and then passing it on to its future home. But for now, maybe it will slow down a bit with the amount of echo that's going on in the room. And who knows? If we get good enough news in regards to everything changing in terms of our financial system, and we get that news about Trump winning the election, who knows? Maybe we take a day off, and instead of talking about anything serious or doing anything real, we'll sit there and see if I can't beat some of y'all's high scores on Pac-Man. I probably can't. I probably can. All right, though, guys. We are going to jump right into the news today because we don't have a ton of news. To just be frank, right off the bat, we don't have a ton of news in the crypto space. We have a ton of news going on that's going to be covered on the original Mark Z later this evening at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time that is more in line with politics and the economy outside of the crypto space. But cryptocurrency is, well, it's particularly quiet at the moment, and it's something we've talked about in the past. We talked about this earlier in the week, and I think last week and the week before that a lot of the decisions in regards to where cryptocurrency as a market is going are highly reliant on the election. And I know that seems like a very American-centric viewpoint. That seems very much, Western world-centric. And because it's the U.S. election, it's not something that's going on everywhere, but it genuinely is that big of a deal. This election is having major repercussions for investors, not only inside the United States, but globally. Everybody is sitting around with bated breath, trying to decide whether they want to go in one direction or the other. And that is what's resulting in stagnation. Cryptocurrency is seeing very odd money movements. And so a lot of money is moving into crypto, but it's not moving in and buying anything. They're moving a ton of cryptocurrency into exchanges, or wait, 1 second. They're not moving a ton of cryptocurrency into exchanges. They're moving a ton of fiat dollars into exchanges. They're not buying crypto with it yet. They're sitting there with cash in hand, waiting. And that is, I think, what the vast majority of every major crypto investor, whether it's retail or traditional finance, we're both sitting in the same situation, going, hey, we know that we need money ready. We know that Kamala, in regards to inflation, is going to be positive news for crypto and gold and silver. And we know that Donald Trump, in regards to positive legislation and support for the crypto industry, is going to be good for crypto prices. But we really don't know just how good. It's speculative. It's speculation. And so I think that for many, the idea of a Kamala Harris success, which all the fingers crossed over and over again, is never going to become a reality. All the fingers crossed will never become a reality. But when you're an investor, you still have to sit there and consider if it's a possibility. If it's a possibility, then you can't go making major decisions with your money right now when you know that she is going to be awful for the crypto industry in regards to regulation, legislation, and the enforcement agencies. So we're in that way, we really don't have a lot that's being announced. At this point, we've got a decent amount of crypto companies that are kind of talking about what their future plans are. They're not making any decisions. It's the same idea where if you came out and you announced as a cryptocurrency at this point in time that you had just invented the most amazing new thing on the planet, and you were going to change the entire space, you were going to ensure that everyone that bought into your project was going to make a fortune. And of course, this never happens, but say it did. Say you're a crypto company and you're releasing the future. If you released it right now, nothing would happen. People are too scared to make any decision at this point. They're too scared to make an investment in even something that seems surefire. Most folks don't seem willing. And traditional finance, the big money, they're sitting in the same place where they're not willing to make a decision. And so we're seeing volumes in regards to cryptocurrency quite high, but in all honesty, really just kind of sticking around in the space of Tether and stable coins. Folks are putting money into crypto right now, and they're buying Tether, USDC, and the other various stable coins pegged to the US dollar, with the thought process being that as soon as we do have any kind of verification on the election, that they're then going to see how the market reacts, and they're going to be ready to make their decision about where they choose to spend their dollars. And we're going to talk about that. We have a few articles on it, actually. This one, though, is a fun one. Kukla says, Kukla is asking, Mile High Trish here, are you going to watch the Joe Rogan podcast with Trump? Kukla, actually, I was doing a bunch of research and have been throughout the week. The Joe Rogan podcast with Trump has been recorded. As of this time, it is done, but I am not certain if it has been made live yet. And we were informed by essentially by people from Spotify who Joe Rogan currently has a deal with Spotify. He's still allowed to put his videos out onto YouTube and things of that nature, but they're the #1 outlet. And we have been informed that if we were to actually stream that interview with Joe Rogan and Donald Trump, we will be removed. And so what we can do is that we can watch it and we can provide a summary. I know I am looking forward to it immensely because I really want to see how that interaction goes down, really want to be able to talk about it. And so Pops and I will be watching, and we're going to bring as much of it over to Liberty on Main Street or to the original Mark Z as we can without pissing off the powers that be. But at this point in time, there is nothing to see. There is no Joe Rogan, Donald Trump interview just yet, but it shouldn't take long. It shouldn't take long. Donald Trump has got a rally at 7:30 p.m. this evening. Actually, I forget where it's at. I think it's a Pennsylvania rally. I could be wrong, but I know that Trump has got a rally at 7:30 p.m. this evening. That means any of his filming with Joe Rogan is already over. He's on a plane on his way to his next appearance. All right, though. Let's get into some fun ones. Bitfinex wallet. Here's one that's particularly a particularly good sign about how well our government is protecting themselves and our money and assets. A Bitfinex wallet hacker returns most of the $20 million back to the United States government. So on October 24th, so just yesterday, a malicious actor drained $20 million from a United States government crypto wallet containing seized funds from the 2016 Bitfinex hack. And as of today, the hacker decided to return $19.3 million to the United States government. According to Arkham Intelligence, several wallets controlled by the hacker returned the funds to the US government, beginning with the characters OXC9E. At the time of this writing, roughly 88% of the funds have been returned. This included 2012 Ethereum, 7,200 USD coin, and 13.2 million in Aave staked USDC. That is a particularly large haul. And, well, the very, very nice guy decided that he was going to give back, well, 88% of it. He's only going to keep 700,000 of the money that he managed to steal from the United States government. Keep in mind, it's not really the US government's money. It's the folks that had their money in Bitfinex back in 2016 that were hacked. It's their money. But the United States government somehow is incapable of managing to keep it safe. And that way that he managed to do it, an important one and something that everyone needs to keep in mind. He did not hack some kind of crazy anything. He did not sit in a computer in a basement with 15 computer screens where he sat there and battled and executed code. No, he just got the private seed address. How he got it, we don't know yet, but most likely some dummy gave it to him. And I say that word dummy because we're talking about someone who's in charge of maintaining security on a $20 million valued crypto hardware wallet that's literally US funds. And so if it's your job to protect $20 million, it seems like a pretty big deal if you accidentally let the private seed phrase go public. But apparently they did. We don't have the details on exactly what the person in the government that was on this one did. We're not certain yet. I'm certain, though, that the reason that we haven't been informed is because it was something particularly silly. And that's most likely the reason that they're not coming out right away and saying exactly how it occurred. But yes, well, we got $19.3 million back. And in all honesty, the fact that the hacker was willing to send back any of the money is, I don't really understand or know. Maybe the hacker's thought process is that if he gives back the vast majority of the money, maybe the US government won't try to find him and track him down. That doesn't really make sense because, the US government is not going to just suddenly drop it because, well, you gave back the vast majority of the money and that you made them look like fools. And governments really dislike being made to look like fools. And so I'm guessing that they're going to find this guy eventually, or whoever the hacker was is somebody who is sitting inside of a country that is not going to extradite to the United States, in which case it makes even less sense about why he didn't just keep the whole $20 million. He could have just kept it all. Why didn't he? Well, we don't know yet. Maybe the hacker will come out and make a public statement in regards to it, but I would imagine he never does and he never gets caught. And so US government tried to lose 20 million of our dollars, and due to a particularly kind hacker, well, we got 19.3 million back of it. All right, the Bitcoin price plunges following report of US government probe into Tether. This is a new announcement, and this is always a major selling indicator. Whenever the SEC goes after Tether or any other stable coin, it results in a market sell-off. And so when we're looking at our crypto prices, everything really can be directly correlated with the decision by the SEC to pursue Tether. Of course, I am not 100% in terms of believing that Tether is fully backed, fully supported, and doing things the right way, but they are the biggest game in the industry. Tether has got a market capitalization of $120 billion. $120 billion. And the vast majority of retail traders and of traditional finance traders will trade between Tether and other assets because it's a stable coin. It's easy to do the math. It's worth $1. It's easy. Most people like to trade in Tether. It just makes things simpler. The real pros, they trade in Bitcoin pairs and everything else, but the math becomes extremely difficult then. Whereas with a stable coin, it's very easy. And so that means whenever you see anybody going after Tether in particular or USDC at a $34 billion market cap, you're going to have a sell-off of all the other assets. The reason being is that people are fleeing from Tether. They're fleeing out. They're trying to get it back into a US dollar. They were holding a stable coin because they didn't want to make the jump. They didn't want to get in and buy Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP. They wanted to hold. They're waiting. And so having negative news about Tether, the largest stablecoin, while we are already in a market that is particularly stagnant, where folks are just not really certain what direction to go, is the reason we are seeing a 3% down on Ethereum in 24 hours, 2.5% down on Bitcoin. And we dropped earlier. We dropped much lower earlier in the day, 65,896 on the news of the SEC pursuing Tether. It occurred at exactly that time. We literally went from, 67,386 to an immediate 65,896 in a matter of minutes. All being pointed back to U.S. government's probe into Tether. All right, though, getting back to more of these regulatory bodies, Ripple files Form C, appeals SEC ruling on XRP institutional sales. So Ripple is challenging the SEC's ruling on the previous XRP sales, claiming the Howey test was misapplied. And the Howey test, I think, is actually something that would be of interest to everyone. It's fairly... I don't think that it's something that many people are aware of, what it is and how important it is when it comes down to a business and how it's formed and how it funds itself. And so I went ahead and had the AI go ahead and put together a little breakdown of what the Howey test is. The Howey test is a legal framework used to determine whether a transaction constitutes an investment contract and consequently a security under U.S. federal security laws. This was established by the Supreme Court in the 1946 case, SEC versus W.J. Howey Corporation, which I believe he was selling like corn or something at that point in time. Something silly. But the four criteria, and this is a very important thing. This is something that has been affecting your lives in a variety of different ways in terms of cryptocurrency without you likely even knowing. Why is Ethereum okay? Why is Bitcoin okay? Why is XRP having to fight an uphill battle? Well, the reason is it's because of the Howey test. And so the Howey test has four criteria. If any one part of this is not true, then you are not a security. And so if any one of the four is not applicable to you, then you are not a security. And so an investment of money, that's the number one point of the criteria. The test requires an investment of money in a common enterprise. So you and I pool all of our money together to do something. Check. All right. Not a good sign for not being a security, but remember, all four have to be true. Common enterprise. The enterprise must be a joint undertaking with a shared goal, where the fortunes of the investor are tied to the success of the enterprise. Okay. Right back there to the idea of all of us pooling our money together and saying, hey, we're going to do something with it. All right. Number three, reasonable expectation of profits. Investors must have a reasonable expectation of profits derived from the efforts of others. Now, here is a really important one for us to think about. Remember World Liberty Financial. Why does World Liberty Financial not allow you to sell your token, and you are never going to make money from having owned your token? Why is that the case? The reason is the Howey test. Donald Trump, the team behind World Liberty Financial, are passing the Howey test by saying investors must have a reasonable expectation of profits derived from the efforts of others. And bam, World Liberty Financial is non-transferable and cannot be sold. That is what is allowing them to sell the token in the first place, because it would be derived from the efforts of others, but there is no reasonable expectation of profits. Because there is not, they are passing. Now, if in any way you were able to sell World Liberty Financial and you were able to make money from it, then bam, this would be another check mark. And so far, using World Liberty Financial as an example, we have got a check on one. Yes, it is an investment of money. We've got a check on two. Yes, it is a common enterprise, AKA most of us are allowed to and participate. 3, reasonable expectation of profits, X. There is no reasonable expectation of profits with World Liberty Financial. Now let's go to number 4, profits derived from the efforts of others. The profits must be generated primarily through the efforts of others rather than the investors' own efforts. And so 3 and 4 really go hand in hand. They really do. If 3 is true, then most likely 4 is true. Not always. There are absolutely examples and specific situations where that's not the case. But otherwise, this has become an incredibly, incredibly important criteria in regards to whether a cryptocurrency is viewed as legitimate or is viewed as truly nothing more than an open commodity. And this is where we see some of the odd things, like why would Trump's token not be available for all investors? Well, it's the Howey test. Investors must have a reasonable expectation of profits, and those profits have got to be generated primarily through the effort of others. All of those things being true, World Liberty Financial would be a security, in which case they would need to go through and file for a variety of different certifications, which cost upwards of $1 million, $2 million, $3 million to just even get. By avoiding this, they have managed to actually launch World Liberty Financial or begin selling World Liberty Financial without having to go through and get all of those things in line. And so this is one for everyone to remember, guys. When you think about why is XRP in trouble? XRP is in trouble because when XRP initially sold their tokens, investors had a reasonable expectation of profits. Everybody had a reasonable expectation that they were going to make money, and they expected to make those profits from the work of the Ripple Labs team. By those two things being true, that is why the SEC has been so capable of continuing to screw with them. It's a silly rule. It's an application of a Supreme Court case from 1946 being applied to cryptocurrency and in the 21st century. It's antiquated, but it is still U.S. law. So for anyone that's curious, the Howey test is an excellent thing to learn about. There's a lot there. And this is where you start to have that breakdown between the idea of an asset and a commodity, a security and a commodity, an investment vehicle, and me joining a club. I know that those things seem like they're all over the place, but this one test is essentially used to make the determination in just about everything in terms of whether something is an investment opportunity or whether something is a commodity, in the same way that I can go buy a refrigerator. Am I buying a stock or am I buying a fridge? And because of that, that is where this kind of comes into effect. And it is the reason that we have XRP and we have a variety of other projects that have had a very hard time because Bitcoin and Ethereum are capable of essentially passing the test. In all honesty, they are genuinely community-based projects, in which case it is not a matter of specifically a team's work. It is a matter of the community's work. If the community builds more things, makes more things that can be used on the Ethereum blockchain, and that makes the Ethereum blockchain more valuable, that is not a matter of who you invested in. That is a matter of the community. It's a very odd area of law. It's a very gray area that, in all honesty, is not logical and doesn't genuinely make sense. But this is the reason it's so important that Donald Trump gets into office and creates some real regulations and framework, a real road for us to drive on, so that we can quit having debates about whether something passes the Howey test or not. Because I can tell you, I have had to debate and have conversations about this darn test so many times in the past 8-9 years that it's insane. It's always like, all right, well, are we okay on the Howey test? If we say this, are we okay on the Howey test? You call a lawyer. So the lawyer can tell you that, well, I don't know if you're good or not, because there are no rules. He's like, maybe you're okay, maybe you're not. We need something to change here. It's an important thing for people to be aware of, because it's not just cryptocurrency. Hey, Mile High Trish says, will you be putting the links into the show info on YouTube? That's a great question there, Trish, and I will today. I will, as soon as we get done with the stream, I will toss them all into the description and try to start making a habit out of that. I know that when I toss them into the chat, that's helpful for folks that are watching live, but most folks end up watching after the recording has already completed, and for them, it's not as helpful. And so I will try to get that into the description. I got very lucky. NW Treasure Seeker. Hi, Chester. How much was the shipping for that old school video game into PR? I found a friend down here in Puerto Rico who had brought it down, and he really, really needed to sell something and make some money. And so I got very, very lucky on that one, because I can't imagine what it would cost to have brought it down. I am very glad that that was not the bill I got. But it also does not just have Miss Pac-Man. There's over 3,000 games on it. And so it has every game that was ever on one of those machines. All right, though. It's starting to. It's starting to. Flying Squirrel, love how the room is starting to take shape. It's taking some time. I'm still more focused on trying to get a working kitchen put together at this point in time. And so that's really slowed down a lot of my fun here, because I'm going to be putting a cat wall up over here. And so carpet actually up here, carpet that will go up, and then there'll be a little walkway for all the kitty cats so that they can actually be sleeping above the Mrs. Pac-Man machine. And so I think I'm very close to being able to start on those things. But yeah, the working kitchen part, as Flying Squirrel says, is important. It is. I have been eating far, far too many meals out over the past 2.5 weeks because, well, I don't even have a countertop. So I'm working on it. I'm pretty certain I will be done on the kitchen on Monday. Trying to do too many things myself has resulted in it being a kind of a slow process, but it's a good thing. Yeah, Mary Jones. Mary Jones says I was more of a pool shark than a gamer. I would have to say the same. I could definitely get probably do better on a pool table than I can on the arcade machine. But who knows? Give me some time. Might end up being a Galaga Pro. I know that one of the only games I had ever played on an arcade machine was Burger Time. And I remember I loved Burger Time when I was young, and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And so those are two games that I've got to go back and have that trip down nostalgia lane and play. I don't know if anyone ever played Burger Time. I don't know why I ever got introduced to it. No. Kukla pool table Zester. Nope. There's not going to be anything else. This is pretty much the only part of this house where I had a genuine amount of space where I could just put something. And I didn't even plan on it being This is Pac-Man. But when life gives you lemons, you make lemonade. And you don't look gift horses in the mouth. And so that's where we got on that one. Hey, Richard Gregory remembers Burger Time. I just remember it being too much fun and that I never really did that well at it. But I had a blast doing it. So, yeah, David reminded me of a Seinfeld episode that George had a Frogger game with high score that he moved across the street. And Frogger is a matter of getting across the street in the game. And that's definitely a meta joke there. But yeah, so if anyone has any suggestions for any games that would be on there, I guess Dig Dug. I'll have to look that one up and see if that's a game on it. I don't know any of the games from things like that. And so I'm going to be learning along with, but I imagine folks out there have had some experience back in the old school arcades, might be able to point me in the right direction. NW Treasure Seeker. Hey, Zester, how far do you live from Mark? I am about a minute and a half now in the car from Pops' house. If I was walking, it would be about 10 minutes, and it would only be about 10 minutes because there's one wicked hill in between us. I mean, one wicked hill. If it weren't for the hill, it'd probably be a 7-8 minute walk, but it's about a minute and a half in the car. And so we are particularly close to each other in W Treasure Seeker. Donkey Kong. Yeah, there we go. The other one that I played, Crash Bandicoot. Oh, Smash Burger for dinner tonight. That's a great idea, Kukla. Unfortunately, I don't have a kitchen. And so I'm really, really hoping that maybe I need to start harassing Pops right now and be like, Smash Burgers, ? I know that he's busy at the moment, but maybe I can go up and invade his house, his kitchen for 30, 45 minutes and try to whip up some Smash Burgers real quick. Because now that's exactly what I want. That's like exactly what I want. Crazy Chester. This morning I saw a lady talking to her cat. Poor woman thought the cat understood her. I got home later, told my dog, and we both laughed about it. Yep, crazy. I'm glad you're trying to pick up the mantle of Gary 7, who's not able to be here today, and I think you're doing a particularly good job there, Crazy Chester. That was a good one. That is. All right. Oh yeah, no, that he does. Pops does have a lot of pots and pans. Oh, and yeah, I know he will. Flying Squirrel there. If you're cooking for both of you, he will definitely go for it. Now that's true. That's true. But do I have to clean up after? Yeah, probably also. Maybe I'll have to see. Who knows? I'll shoot him a message as soon as I end the stream and be like, Smash Burgers? And see if maybe he's feeling froggy. Oh, Tino and Tina are actually currently sitting in the front room staring at the road. They have got a little spot where they're able to sit and watch everybody. And at this time of the day in Puerto Rico, in the little town that I'm in, everybody goes and they walk up and down the road in front of the house. And so it's like 100, 200 people that are out there walking back and forth every evening. And the cats have become fascinated with this. And so they sit there in the window, Tino and Tina just staring at everybody as they walk down the road, and then they look for the next person to walk by and they stare at them. They're going to be busy doing that for the next hour and a half, probably until it gets dark. They're having a blast though, and so hey, Can't blame him. It's exciting. Mary Jones asks, what is a smash burger? A smash burger is your normal type patty, but a little bit smaller. And when you're actually cooking it in the pan or on the grill, you're going to smash it as thin as you can get it. The idea is to smash a couple of them out real thin and stack them up on top of each other with some nice sizzly gooey cheese in between. They are extremely good. Mary Jones, you need one. It's the same idea, but the smash burger, because of the smashy process, ends up being a little less. It's cooked perfectly throughout, and so you're capable of getting away with a little bit more of a medium or a medium rare on your burger, and it's much easier to do. It's almost reminiscent of like the thinness of a White Castle burger. It's very relative to the thinness of a White Castle burger, Mary Jones, but it's not the same idea, but it is. It's that thickness. You stack them up, but I would have to say that any smash burger I've had has definitely been a little bit better than my 1 or 2 times on White Castle. Bendy 36. We call smash burgers roadkill. Yeah. I think you might want to cook those a little more well done there, Bendy. I imagine, in the States, we have possums that in North Carolina that we always tend to run over. And I know that you would have opossums. And so I don't know if it's the same rule. With possums, you're not supposed to eat them. Opossums, maybe you are. All right. Yes. And so Leslie K 1776. I checked Liberty on Main Street YouTube, and I don't see where a live is coming up. Did I miss the Trump and Rogan interview? Leslie, you did not miss it because of it being the president. The release for the Joe Rogan Experience for his interview with Trump is going to be different. The interview has already been recorded, and now it is being edited before it is released. And so we're all kind of waiting with bated breath for that one. Unfortunately, we don't know when it's going to release. We just know that it's recorded, it's done, and that we're expecting it. It could be any minute, it could be any moment, it could be Saturday, it could be Sunday, but most likely it's going to be by the end of the day tomorrow. Even more likely, it'll be by the end of the day today. So we're not certain. They're treating it differently because of it being Trump. I don't think that they even announced when Trump would be in the studio out of just general security fears. And so we were expecting to be able to play it in the same way that you could a lot of other Joe Rogan podcasts. It seems like in this case, we're not going to be able to do it the same way that you could with other Joe Rogan Experience podcasts. And so I know that we are actually going to be, and I think Pops will be announcing a schedule for watch parties going up to the election, I believe on the 7 p.m. stream on the original Mark Z. Because we have gone ahead and we've set out a schedule for the different rallies and of course, all of the big events up to election night, because that's all Pops and I are going to be doing anyway. And so we know that everyone out there in the community is all going to be sitting there staring at their news channels, etc. We figured we might as well do it together. Might as well have all of us to hang out, the community to be together while we're sitting there glued to the TV screen for these last days towards towards the beginning, the turning of a page for our nation, the turning of a page. And so I would expect to be able to get a bit more information from Pops in just a few. I'm pretty certain we've settled on all the different ones we're doing. Pretty much we're going to be going out there for all of the different rallies, all of the different endorsements, and all of the major news stories in regards to the election. And we're doing it over there on Liberty because we don't want to go getting in trouble on the other channels in case we accidentally play the stream from CNN, and CNN decides that they're going to go in and flag the channel because of that. And so Liberty on Main is going to be our safe space for getting all of our election news and being able to just hang out together while we watch all of what I'm certain is going to be insanity in the run up. Yep. New NW Treasure Seeker. Joe Rogan Experience always releases at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard. Could be different for the Trump interview. Yeah. NW Treasure Seeker, that's where we're kind of wondering. We're wondering if it's going to be 1 p.m. Eastern tomorrow, or is it going to be a different, completely random time? I was expecting 1 p.m. today because of the way that they had framed it, the way they had talked about it. It sounded like Joe Rogan and Trump were going to be having their interview early this morning and that we were going to get to watch it at 1 p.m. That did not end up happening. So I'm assuming either there was a bit of a delay or who knows. We know how much insanity is going on. We know that, we've been informed of 4 different attempts on Trump's life. I'm certain that there have been 40 that we have not been informed of. And so I do wonder when it comes to kind of scheduling anything out with him, it's probably insanely difficult to really hammer down an exact time. But fingers crossed as soon as possible, because we really do. I think we are going to want every American that possibly has the time to make certain that they watch the Joe Rogan Donald Trump interview before the election. I know that for all of us, not really that important. Our minds are made, and most of us have already made our votes heard. And so for us, it's not. But for a lot of people in the country, it could be that motivating, that camel, that straw that breaks the camel's back. It could be that one thing that makes a lot of Americans, especially a lot of young men that watch Joe Rogan, because that is the largest demographic, and it could influence enough of them to go out and place their vote when maybe they were going to be apathetic. Maybe they were going to say, it's not that important. My vote doesn't matter. I'm hoping that the Joe Rogan interview manages to convert some of the normie type folks that aren't paying attention to everything else, but they watch Joe Rogan. I'm hoping that it can turn more votes to Trump's side. And so we'll find out. Hopefully, fingers crossed, it was a particularly good one. I'm pretty certain that it went well. I can't imagine Joe Rogan and Donald Trump not getting along. So with all of that stated, yes, look forward to the 7 p.m. on the original Mark Z channel. We are going to have videos and streams and watch parties going out for anything and everything, because Pops and I are not going to be able to concentrate on anything else, no matter what. And so we might as well be hanging out all together for it. And so look forward to that. Definitely tune in at 7 p.m. And if we don't have anything fun or we're not able to talk about it, then I'll be back on Monday, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the Crazy Kryptonaut channel. But I highly doubt we're not going to be talking before then. So love you guys. Thank you so much for being here and being a part of the community. And I will see you very, very